I would like to know how, I know certainly that a few Ugandans were evacuated as a result. Would you tell the committee right now, at this moment, roughly how many Ugandans are still there, how they are affected by the ongoing conflict, and what is the embassy and government trying to do to try and alleviate the issue?
Yeah, starting with His Excellency the President, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and this honorable committee, that for the support which was given to us, and I want to assure you that when the war started, we made sure that all our citizens were registered through social media, mainly through WhatsApp groups, and all who registered themselves, we made sure that they were all evacuated back home. It's only a few number, which is less than 10, who did not want to come back from Khartoum. They decided to stay, but we are in touch with them, and plus also.
Continue.
Yeah, so all our citizens who registered were successfully evacuated back home, except a very few number which decided not to come back, but I believe it's less than 10. They decided to stay in Khartoum because they had some family commitments. Some of them had lived in Khartoum for a very long time, though they still have their roots here, but we consider them to be Ugandans. But a number of those, which is very few, decided to remain behind. And now we have a very few number, estimated to be like 30, who are now in Port Sudan, where we moved our mission to. And we managed to celebrate the Women's Day with a number of them. And right now, we don't know anyone who is stuck there.
But what is your security, you, the Foreign Service officers? How safe are you right now in Sudan?
No, in Port Sudan, we don't face any threats so far, because Port Sudan is 1,000 kilometers away from Khartoum, where the fighting is taking place from. So they are where we are now, we are safe.
Okay.
Khartoum, because of the war. And I believe those Ugandans who are staying there, most of them were working and they had their properties. And I believe most of them have also lost their properties. What is the embassy doing about that, and the government as well? If Ugandans have lost their properties, how are we going to help them? Thank you.
Is for the Ugandans, the students who were sent, whom we successfully evacuated back home, and we managed to coordinate a successful engagement between IUIU University here and also the International Islamic African Islamic University, and those who were, the majority of those who were still interested in continuing their studies are studying from here. Yeah, under that collaboration between the two universities, Africa International University and IUIU Uganda.
Is how many countries are accredited to Khartoum? Because you talked of Morocco in your submission. And two, secondly, you said the embassy was robbed. I know the taxpayer, the Uganda taxpayer, lost tremendously. But I would like to get clearance and more insight from human resource. Which sort of personal effect do qualify for compensation in such a scenario? Because definitely it may not be one's residence, but and it is we have mentioned it is an embassy. Can you throw more light on that? Those watching us and those Ugandans who are following this committee session would be interested, what are we going to compensate really those other people? That is also a follow-up question on what the deputy chair had asked, that how comes a few diplomatic staff are benefiting and yet the local staff maybe who might have also lost are not benefiting on this other aspect? Thank you very much.
Based on the previous issues, at the outset of the war in April 2023, there were about 300 Ugandans in the Sudan. After successful evacuation, those who chose to remain, including the sick, and those who were comfortable, were about 13 people. Today, the number could have increased because humanitarian services has resumed in Sudan, and some Ugandans have again got jobs in the Sudan. So we have more Ugandans working in the Sudan right now at Port Sudan and other places. So the number has gone now beyond 13. So Ugandans who are there now are safe, and they're in touch with our embassy at Port Sudan, and any consular services that they require are always given in a timely manner. Regarding compensation, also as head of Chancery, I'm responsible for human resource at the mission. The people whose property are affected, who are supposed to be refunded by government, are the diplomatic staff, who have been clearly mentioned by the accounting officer. This does not include the local staff who are Sudanese and based in Sudan. Because local staff are residents, are people we source from within Sudan. We are the responsibility of our government at the host country. We lost our property while at the service of our government. So the kind of property that will be compensated are our personal effect that we bought to make our life comfortable while serving our government in the host country. These include vehicles that are personal effect, that if I were to return back on recall, I would come back with that car and would be registered with a red number plate as a diplomatic car, diplomat's return car back home. So my vehicles, my jewelries, my money, my clothes that were used for making me comfortable at work were all robbed at the onset of the war. So these are the kind of property that have been properly evaluated by the accounting officer and ourselves, and we listed them out and submitted to government. These are the things that will be compensated. Thank you.
Okay, well,
A utility vehicle amounting to 200 million. Have you formally submitted that to head office?
Before the ambassador started, but I was a bit consulting. It has been on the media and social media everywhere that one member introduced by the ambassador here called Ogwang has been recalled from his service, and we wanted to know whether he's cleared to resume his work, because he may not be the right person to sit in this meeting if he is not cleared.
Ambassador,
Call. Yeah. Yes, it is true that Mr. Ogwango was recalled, but as you know, procedurally, in the public service, we have a structured process of handling disciplinary issues, and the officer was subjected to the due process, and the process was concluded, and the matter was resolved, and he was given the appropriate caution as advised by the Rewards and Sanctions Committee, and he has resumed work. Yes.
it's important for our record because it was raised already. Then still from MOFA, we need you to clarify on how much money will be required for the compensation.
The compensation. What is true is that the officers are entitled to compensation, and these are issues of a war situation. I don't know, we'll reach out to the Auditor General in this respect, but I can really associate, because You know, to compensate, you must verify. No, the Auditor General, why we submitted to the Auditor General is the verification part. The authoritative arm of government on our part for verifying the values is the Auditor General. I have not reached out to them to ask, but I can imagine they must be grappling on the verification. How do they do the verification? But we are going to reach out to them after here, and we'll get appropriate answers for that. But they really, 1 year, of course, we need to establish when it actually reached the Auditor General, because as you've heard, it went to public service to approve the principle. Then from public service, that's when we submitted to Auditor General. So the verification part, that's where we, yes. So I'm going to reach out to them, but from where I stand right now, I can imagine there must be something to do with how do you verify in this situation as it is. Yes.
Okay.
You will recall that Khartoum was taken in April 2023 by the RSF, who eventually caused tremendous damage, looting and ransacking every embassy and homes, not only for diplomats, but for every business person in Khartoum. They remain in control of Khartoum for the all of 2023 and 2024. It was just last year when last week, when the army resumed back in the capital, just a few days ago. So in terms of verification, I do not know what kind of mechanism our Accountant General's office will use to verify our property that were actually stolen from our homes in a city in captivity.
Yeah. I think that's internal. I think that's internal.
Under Secretary, on Thursday, when we'll be interfacing with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we want a comprehensive response on the compensation of the staffs in Sudan, Khartoum, as we have been discussing now. So the internal issues, they will know how to handle. There must be a way of dealing with that. But we need a comprehensive response. This matter has to be put to an end.
Mine is not actually a question, it's a procedural issue. Honorable Chair, you are indeed very smart, and you always commend us for being dressed as diplomats. And I want to commend the ambassador and the team. They're really smart. However, Honorable Chair, when you look at the accounting officer, really, I get embarrassed in the way his work is to standard, but the dressing. At a certain point, I thought maybe the ties were also stolen or looted during the war. Maybe to know, but then I think we deserve better from you, and I hope it's only within us. But as a diplomat with a red passport, we expect more from you. Right, Honorable Chair, thank you so much.
Okwebaza gavumenti yaffe okutandikira ku mukama waffe from the top, His Excellency the President, nti olutalo bwe lwatandika Sudan wakati wa gavumenti ya Sudan ne RSF, the Rapid Forces, gavumenti yaffe yayimukiramu. Era President yafaayo nnyo, yalaga omutima gw'ekizadde kubanga yakubananga n'amasimu buli lunaku okubuuza embeera eri etya, bannayuganda bali batya, n'abasudaani bennyini bali batya. Era gavumenti yayamba, Ministry of Foreign Affairs yakola ekyetaagisa kyonna n'ekikirira gavumenti, nenga President abirimu nga bwe mbategeezezza directly. Bannayuganda bonna ne tusobola okubeera nti no tubakomyawo abaali basukka 300 omwali n'abayizi students abaali basomerayo. Twebaza gavumenti nti embeera ey'abayizi twasobola okubeera nti no tukwasaganya wakati wa IUIU ne Africa International University, era abayizi bangi abaali bakyayagala okugenda maaso n'emisomo gyabwe, program nekolebwa ne bagenda maaso n'emisomo. ku nsonga y'abaafiirwa ebintu byabwe kubanga bannayuganda abaali e Sudan mwalimu ba diplomats ba staffu ba embassy local staff gattako ne bannayuganda abaali beekolera egyabwe. Enkola ya gavumenti eba erina obuvunaanyizibwa okubeera nti eriira ba diplomats abaafiirwa ebintu byabwe mu lutalo nga bali ku mulimu, mpozi nga bwe kyali e Libya nti naye olutalo lwaliyo bannayuganda aba diplomats abaali bakola ku embassy ne babeera nti no baliyibwa ebintu byabwe. Gavumenti twagitegeeza era nkakasa nti ekola ekyetaagisa okusobola okubeera nti eriira ba diplomats abaafiirwa ebintu byabwe, era ne komiti etuwadde amaanyi mangi n'essuubi nti ensonga egenda Parliamentary Committee on Foreign Affairs Matters wano mu Palamenti ya Uganda etuwadde essuubi ly'amaanyi nti ensonga eyo egenda gikwasaganya ne Ministry ya Foreign Affairs ku lunaku olwokuna ebeere nga emalirizibwa. Kale tewali kweraliikirira kwonna eri ba diplomats bonna abaali mu embassy yaffe e Khartoum. Gavumenti ensonga eyo egenda kubeera nti egimaliriza inshallah. Omugatte ogwawamu guli mu miliyoni nga 5 awo kubanga ba diplomats ku mission wabawo ebintu nga gavumenti yebigula. Kakati basasulwa compensation bafuna ku bye baali beegulidde byokka. Kale biri mu range awo ya miliyoni nga 5 eza Uganda ba diplomats bonna 6. Olutalo olugenda mu maaso mu Sudan okuva olutalo bwe lwatandika mu mwezi era gwali gwa kisiibo mu mwaka gwa 2023 katuli mu 2025 ekisiibo kino kiggwako insha Allah myaka 2 miramba. Olutalo lukyagenda mu maaso naye embeera kati esanyusa ku saidi ya gavumenti nti obuzibu bwonna ebadde businga okubeera bubadde mu kibuga Khartoum, naye gavumenti yasobodde okwezza ebitundu ebisukka ku 95 mu capital city, era State House bagikomezaawo, ministries bazikomezaawo. Kati awakyaliwo Kalumanyeera ekisaawe kubanga abayeekera bakyakutte saidi y'ekisaawe, ne gavumenti esuubira nti mu bbanga omwezi guno egunaggwerako basuubira nti mu mwezi gw'okutaano gavumenti ejja kuba ngezzeemu okubeera nti ekolera mu kibuga. Naye njagala okwebaza gavumenti yaffe naddala His Excellency the President olw'obuyambi obuweebwa Abasudaani, kubanga olutalo bwe lwatandika Abasudaani balina ensi ezibaliraanye immediate neighbors, naye okusinziira ku bo bennyini Abasudaani gavumenti yaffe ate nga we are not their immediate neighbors, naye ebayambye olwa policy ennungi ey'aba refugees, olwo omutima ogw'ekizadde ogwa pulezidenti waffe bonna ne baanirizibwa, n'abaafuna ebizibu ku kisaawe nga tebalina visa passport abamu zaabula basobola okuyingira, embeera yaabwe n'etereezebwa oluvannyuma. Era Abasudaani basanyufu nnyo olwa omutima omulungi gavumenti yaffe gwerina ne bannayuganda okutwaliza awamu, era amawulire ag'essanyu nti tebivuddeemu ba refugees bokka nti bakuteeka mu camps nga ba refugees b'amawanga amalala, ne as we talk now Abasudaani abajja wano mulimu abasawo era bajjanjaba, mulimu ba business people bakoze investments wano ez'amaanyi, manufacturing, mulimu n'ebintu ebirala, mulimu abali mu trading, mulimu abali mu agriculture. Kale tebatumenye nga bw'oyinza okugamba nti oyinza obbatunulira nga ba refugees kyokka, bayongedde value ku economy yaffe, era tuli basanyufu ku mbeera eyo gavumenti yaffe engeri gye yakwatamu ensonga zaabwe. I want to thank our government for the good policy which accommodated our brothers and sisters, for the good refugees policy which accommodated our brothers and sisters from the Sudan ever since the war started in Sudan up to today. The good news I have for Ugandans is that not all the refugees, all the Sudanese who came to Uganda are refugees. They are many of them who have added value to our economy. They are very good doctors who are practicing now as medical doctors. We also have serious investors who have launched so many serious businesses in our country. There are many who are involved in coffee trading, which is, as we all know, one of our main crops in the country. So there are many who are dealing in coffee, taking it, exporting it to Port Sudan and other countries all over the world. The situation now in Sudan, ever since the war started, it has taken 2 years now. It started during the month of Ramadan, and now it's 2 years. But the government is now coming back, and they have regained they have recovered almost the city of Khartoum up to 95%. Last week, they recovered the State House and all the ministries which were captured by the RSF from the beginning of the war. So the promise they are making, as per their expectation, they expect that after the month of Ramadan, mainly in May, they expect to have recovered the whole capital city, and peace. We expect peace to be restated in the country. But now we are operating from Port Sudan, which is 1,000 kilometers away from the capital city of Sudan, from Khartoum, and it's next to Jeddah. It's more closer to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. That is where all the embassies were moved to, those who decided to remain in Sudan. But some embassies were moved to some other countries. Some of them were moved to Ethiopia. Some of them were moved to Egypt. But more than 28 embassies which are now operating from Port Sudan. The situation is safe there. Because it's far from from Khartoum, where the fighting has always been taking from, and also some other areas. Most of the areas are now peaceful, and we pray for our brothers and sisters in Sudan to regain their peace very soon, as they are working hard to achieve that. Thank you so much. We have 3 categories of Ugandans who used to live in Sudan before the outbreak of the war. We have the diplomats who are working at the embassy, and plus the local staff who are also working at the embassy, but they were recruited locally from Sudan. That is one category. Then the second category are the students who are studying in Sudan, and the number was ranging between 120 and 150. And we also have Ugandans who are doing businesses there in Sudan, all those who are working, who are employed in Sudan. The standing orders, as per our government system, the government, in terms of compensation, can only cater for the diplomats, not even the local staff who were working at the embassy, because they were locally recruited. And for the other Ugandans who were working from there is no way the government system can cater for them to compensate them. But with regards to the diplomats, we submitted our request, and we are happy for the way how the government is handling this file, regardless of some delays. But today we have gotten assurance from the Parliamentary Committee on Foreign Affairs Matters that it's going to work together with the Minister of Foreign Affairs to make sure that this file gets closed as soon as possible. We know and we appreciate the the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the efforts it has been making, but as we all know, it's a procedure. It had to go from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it had to go to the Ministry of Public Service for clearance, and also from the Ministry of Public Service, it had to go to Auditor General's office. So these are things we understand as public servants, and we don't see any problem with that. Thank you so much. The money for all the staff, it is in the range of 500 million shillings. You might look at it as a small amount, but something, for your information, the compensation is meant for only the personal effects and for some staffs which were bought individually by the diplomats working there. Otherwise, the government provides items which the diplomats use when they are at work. Thank you so much.